16, I was very, very heavy. I was morbidly obese. I was like just tipping the scales at 300. Yeah.
And then you exploded.
I worked at the gym. I lived in the
Right,
gym,
right. Yes,
It's a good therapy. I don't want to say that's the answer to, all,
right.
but definitely that as a building block in your life makes a huge difference.
You decided to go into the Army.
You learn a lot about yourself, other people. You learn that things that you could never imagine that you could do, you just keep pushing and, putting pressure like you can figure it out.
He's just at the tip of his iceberg, right? Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dr. Maureen Fitness Enthusiast YouTube channel. So excited to be here. I have waited for a while to have this interview with Max. Now, if you're a member at Palm Beach Sport and you don't know Max, you're not really a member at Palm Beach Sport, right? You've been there
that's
since,
pretty true.
Exactly. Since all you have to do is say, "Do you know Max?" Well, of course I know Max. You've been a member there since, oh gosh.
It was about 2016 was, I think, when I first signed up, somewhere in there.
So we're talking about 12 years, right?
Long time, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not 12 years. What am I saying?
12 years.
It's 10.
Yeah, 10 years.
Yeah, high math. Okay, so one of the reasons I do this channel is because I want people to hear from folks like all of us. How do you stay strong? How do you stay strong physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually? So I met Max, and you were working there first, and then you became a personal trainer.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, yeah, I was working out there for a long time, and then the current owner, when it was Gold's Gym, offered me a job, and then it kind of turned into being a personal trainer there.
So Max was probably my second personal trainer. Phenomenal. And at that time, Max, you were talking, this is a while ago, you were at that time talking about time under tension.
Oh yeah.
Right?
A lot of different, definitely like a little farther into like experimental, a lot of exercise science was coming out, and I was trying it out and kind of figuring out what worked for me and different clients, and just kind of like working through the kinks of everything.
Yes. All right. So hopefully I won't start crying with this, because Max is kind of like, he's just a very special person. So one of the reasons with this channel is people's strength inside and out. Max, to me and to many others, exudes strength from the inside and out. He's inner directed and outer directed. He gives, you give so much in so many ways. So you're going to hear a little bit about that, because he's a wonderful human being. So with that being said, I have tons of questions for Max, so we'll see what we get to. But Max, evolution as a human being has been so awesome to watch, and to know that now he's just at the tip of his iceberg, right? I mean, like he's been through so many things already, and you can tell like his life is going to really take off to places that are so special as he is. So
hope so.
Yes. So Max, what do you think is the most important thing that has allowed you to maintain your physical, emotional, and mental health?
Definitely, in terms of the gym, that does a lot for all those things. It kind of shows yourself that as long as you apply pressure, hard work, then you can get the things you want. And then like the weeks or months or whatever that you're slacking, you're not getting the things you want. So it kind of shows you that, if I want to be strong, if I want to stay strong, if I want to, be in a good mental spot, it's a good therapy. I don't want to say that's the answer to, all.
Right.
But definitely that as a building block in your life makes a huge difference. And then in terms of, emotional and mental strength is just like having good relationships with people. And, just not going around being like a narcissistic person or whatever. Just be a true person, Don't lie just to make yourself look better. Don't whatever. Just be a true, genuine person to everybody, and take care of your physical health. Whether that be through, if you like to run, whether if you like to lift weights, as long as like something's keeping you active. There's a good saying that's like, well, if you get stuck in your mind, then go get stuck in your body instead. So
good one.
Definitely a good way to look at things. Just stay active.
We could go on this one question alone for so long with you, because again, one of the qualities that you have is you're so inner directed, as well as being outer directed. So I'll give you an example is, in case you don't know what about yourself, when you're at the gym and people walk in, you treat each person as if they are the most important person that walked into that room.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you said, there's not an ounce of arrogance in you. You have this air about you that you care so much about individual people.
Yeah, definitely. I like to look at it as like everyone starts with a clean slate if I don't know you, and then like I'll do my best to be a genuine person to anybody and everybody, and they can do with that what they will. Some people, we've all met people who
Right.
put off a certain vibe or whatever, and like even then, like you can learn something from that person. You don't have to act the same. I'm not saying you have to treat them badly, but you just kind of give everyone that clean slate and let them kind of build off the relationship. Because as long as you're constantly the same person that you are to everybody else, then you don't have to worry that if you're doing something wrong,
Right.
and, just treat everyone the same.
So for you, it sounds like it's a balance of the gym and your life outside of the gym in terms of your inside.
Yeah, it used to when I first got in the gym, it was definitely a lot of like, as you know, I lived at the gym,
Yes.
and but I think another part of that was I enjoyed the people I met at the gym, and like I definitely like there's people that I've known for close to a decade now that we can still meet up and laugh and goof around, and you know, to me that's better to hang out there than like doing something that's getting you in trouble or
Yes.
whatnot, So definitely spent a lot of time there, but there's certain aspects of fitness where it's like, okay, when you recovering, when are you eventually that builds up. Just only being in the gym all the time isn't the greatest mentally. It's not the worst place to be mentally, but you need to go do other things and you need to like have more experiences, I guess.
Sure.
Like use the gym as a catapult into like, oh, now I'm able to do this, now I'm able to do that, like now I can go hike a mountain,
Right.
because
Right. Sure.
I can
Yes.
last it,
Uh-huh.
now I can go to the beach, surf, I can fish, go offshore, I can, just
Right.
use it as a building block to be able to go do other things, meet people there, take them with you, or vice versa. I've had plenty of people offer me opportunities just from meeting them in the
Sure.
gym, So
Sure. It's that gym particularly is like a community
yeah, it's great.
in so many ways. It's awesome. It's awesome. And I really feel like if the gym that you go to, you don't have that feeling, find another one.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Because you're going to
definitely.
spend a lot of time there.
No, it's funny because I have friends. I'm from Jupiter, so I have friends that I've known my whole life, and like we'll go to the beach or something, and like within an hour, maybe like two or three people walk by, and they're, oh Max, whatever.
Right. Right.
And I mean, you're right in the heart of Jupiter, so I mean, like it's just like a sifter of the people. I mean,
Yes.
like I've met so many crazy people, funny people, just like everything. All and Jupiter just cycles them through because, especially now that being a place where people like to come visit. I mean, you just constantly get exposed to new people and
Yes.
learn things. And sometimes it's interesting, sometimes it's not, sometimes whatever.
So let's go to your history when you started there at 16, and at that point, where was your body frame at? What was happening then?
16, I was very, very heavy. I was morbidly obese. I was like just tipping the scales at 300. And I mean, there was a few things in terms of just like body image, but also I was like at that age where you're not, like I had never even really thought about it. Like it just kind of crept up on me. And then like what really had me, take it in and like actually think about it was just something as simple as like I grew up going out on the boat and then came back home with my grandfather and I cleaned the boat and I went to go jump off the side onto the ground and I like as 16-year-old couldn't jump 5-10 feet whatever away from the ground and be fine. I like threw out my back, so I was like, I mean, like I had to like bent over, walk back into my house and be like, oh, I just like messed up my back. And then just other things that were like at 16 years old had me like worried about my health. Like I was a fire rescue explorer and I like passed out at well, I didn't pass out, but I mean the EMTs and paramedics were watching me standing in a formation and I started getting woozy, and I took it upon myself and I went and found a room with AC and then all of a sudden they came in the other door and they're like, we were watching you, we were waiting for you to just hit the dirt. And I was like, oh, what happened? They're like, look
Sure.
at you, so I had to go get a physical and then if I wanted to go back, which I did. So I mean just health stuff at 16 and you're like, I'm 16, I'm supposed to be invincible,
Right.
So
Right.
it makes it real for you, definitely.
So you took the wake up call,
Mm-hmm.
right? You went to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
You knew people there, and what I see so much of a strength in you physically is that you never let up. It seems from there.
Yeah, no. maybe one dull spot once and that's the thing too. Like some people will lose some weight or like put on some muscle or something, and then I did that, and look at me now, and then they kind of, I don't have to do it anymore, and then you lose it,
Right.
which sucks, but that's the
Sure.
game, and it's not crazy hard to just, I mean, give yourself just an hour, 4 or 5 days a week at the gym, or just anything fitness wise in general, whether that be like hitting your steps because you go walk the beach with your dog, or if that's at home you're doing some type of calisthenics, like whatever gives you some form of strength training, endurance training, and just lets you be alive and actually live for longer. Not just be alive, but be able to live your
Sure.
life.
Sure.
Definitely.
So at that point, and even now, where did you learn about what to do? Because so many people go to the gym and they're like, I have no idea what to do. Like, what were the main pieces for you that allowed you to really start to learn about working out, nutrition?
hmm Yeah, I mean, so many things. Honestly, like I think I caught that last era of like pumping iron with Arnold Schwarzenegger
Okay.
and like Franco and all those guys. So that's what like kind of kept me hyped up. And I mean, like you pick and choose what you want from that. And I mean, the biggest thing would just be people that I've met at the gym. Like for instance, my buddy Adam
Uh
Jolly.
huh. Sure.
Like I learned so much from him, and you start to like, and especially if you meet someone who like has already like picked through the nuances of the gym and like what's like kind of BS and what's kind of this and what's that, and you're like, oh, cool, this doesn't happen overnight. Oh, now you get exposed to like the fitness industry and how there's so many things that's like, the 2 week ab fix, and it's
Right.
like,
Sure.
right, cool.
Wouldn't that be
Next,
nice?
yeah. And you just kind of pick through it, and then you start to, as you learn more, you have building blocks to like do your own research, and you'd be like, okay, now that I understand this, I can look up specifics in this, I guess you could say field, but like, okay, now I want to learn about strength training, like how to get better at this, how to understand this, what's actually happening when I'm doing this, and then you start to see like the subsections of fitness, and then like the hardest part I'd say is like sifting through the BS and like understanding that this is something that you have to like put time and effort into, and then like maintain it
Yes.
if you really want it. And like it's one of those things where the way you look and the way you perform is like it's a direct notion of like how much effort or time and like essentially just effort you put into it. Like, are you really doing everything you should be doing?
Right.
Like,
Right.
and you'll know.
Sure.
You can't lie to yourself.
Right.
You can
Right.
lie to other people. Oh, it's this, it's that, but I mean
5 days
that,
of
yeah.
being clean and working out,
Oh,
and a
yeah.
weekend of oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see it. You see it the next day.
Sure. Sure.
And even if it's not real, your brain will make it
Of
real.
course.
you
Of
know?
course. So did you find that your knowledge initially came from other people in the gym and your own research?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just asking people. Like initially, when I was trying to lose weight, one of my best friends, him and I and his dad at the time was like a Green Beret or something like that. He was an SF guy for the Army, and he was you got to do this. So I mean, like I started doing that, and it was like this. And don't if you're just starting, don't ask a Green Beret how to lose weight. Like it. I mean, I did it, but it was tough, and it was just like he was like, you got to do an hour on the stairs, and you're gonna do these intervals, and I was like, cool. And then like day one, dead on the stairs,
Right.
laying at the bottom, and then then from there, like I had lost so much weight, and I was like, okay, I had lost so much weight, I had so much loose skin. I was like, I almost like being bigger, better. But then I saw like all these jacked muscular guys. I was like, well, if I did that, I can do that. So then now you got to go ask them, hey, what do you do? Hey, can I work out with you? I'll show up. So I mean, yeah, definitely just from different people, asking them questions. If someone has a physique that you like, and you can get them to be honest with you on how they did it,
Right.
then definitely a game changer. It's free. It's
Right.
like the internet. You just got to go.
Sure.
You just got to
Sure.
go type it in.
Sure. And then what have you found over the years? Because that's how many years ago now? you
That's
lost the weight.
about 10 years.
So you lost the weight and how?
I lost the
was
weight.
time frame?
Honestly, losing the weight is the easiest part. It took me probably a year, maybe a little bit more, to like get to what was like a healthy weight.
Okay.
Definitely like close to a year. I went from 300. I got down to like 175 to 180, somewhere in there, and I was so
Wow.
skinny, and I didn't
Wow.
like it. But
Yeah,
that's,
you went.
and then,
You went. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like that was like, I don't want to say malnutrition or anything, but like I didn't really know how to eat.
Sure.
And really all I did was just go from eating probably thousands and thousands of calories off of like cookies, milk, and I mean, I love chocolate chip cookies, so a lot of
That's why I
those.
love him.
Oh
My
yeah.
favorite chocolate chip cookies.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, the chewy Chips Ahoy.
Oh,
Yeah, I
please.
mean, I would down a pack of them a day, you know.
Yes.
So doing that, and
I'm
then
familiar.
yeah, and then just switching. I was like, what is healthy food? You know, they'll tell you healthy food, and now if you go from eating that to just eating that, like you will lose an insane amount of weight.
Right.
You know, if you were eating this amount of calories and then you go to just eating healthy foods,
Mm-hmm.
at that point you're not really worried about exactly how many calories. It's just exponentially less than you were eating, and it's nutritionally dense, so you're getting kind of both the benefits. So it gives
Right.
you a while to just focus on learning stuff in the gym and just being in such a calorie deficit that you will lose weight up to a certain point.
And now, 10 years later, still open to learning. You always seem to be.
Oh, definitely. I'm probably somewhat of an old man in fitness, but kind of stuck to my ways because I know
Yes.
what works. But yeah, I mean, everybody can teach you something, and there's aspects of fitness that I don't do. Like I'm not a marathon runner. I'm not a triathlete or anything. So like I'm sure there's systems and stuff in place that I'm not super familiar with. But in terms of what I do, like I'm not the best, but I know people that are better than me.
But you went from, as you put it, morbidly obese, and then you went to thinner than you wanted to be without muscle, right?
Oh yeah,
And then you exploded.
we got jacked. Yeah.
You sure did. I mean, you got like magazine,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it was fun, but that's not a direct representation of like a lifestyle. Like I worked at the gym, I lived in the
Right,
gym,
right. Yes.
and then like eventually like just having so much focus on your body so often is like, I would say it's not the most. It's mentally taxing.
Yes.
You're like constantly, what do
Yes.
I look like? What do I look like for my clients? What do I,
Mm-hmm.
which is it's not the worst thing to be addicted to, but it's definitely like the balance is so necessary.
Yes.
Like, yeah, every now and then I'm gonna have a cheeseburger, or every now
Sure.
and then, and like even that, me saying that, like my friends know, like I'm super strict, but even then, like every now and then you have some drinks with your friends, whatever. Like you're
Right.
not. It's not the same as when you're living in the gym, looking in a mirror. I mean, you see it. There's mirrors everywhere.
Sure.
So, what do I look like right now?
Right.
So
Right.
yeah.
Right. What do I look like this morning, this afternoon?
Oh yeah.
Tonight? Yeah.
I mean, you see it too. Once you're that in tune with your eating, and you're
Yeah.
like, this morning,
Sure.
because I didn't eat for 8 hours because I slept. Oh, I'm shredded right now, and then you have breakfast, and you're
Right.
like, "Whoa, what happened?"
Right. Yeah, the key, like you said, is balance. Because I know when I'm competing, I am so, oh my gosh, there isn't wiggle room, and there doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
But I also love when I'm not in training that I can allow, and I call it a splurge.
Mm-hmm.
That I allow myself a splurge meal.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it's a little more than a meal in that one day.
And
But we
that's
don't
it.
tell coach
As long
that.
as your
Yeah.
mental health is better for it, then
Right,
that's good.
right. I don't want to be like in a box, right?
Mhm.
Like you can really tell you're living your life.
Oh yeah, yeah. You gotta have fun.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it becomes like particularly because you and I have talked about it. I mean, I was very obese as a kid too, so it's like finding that way of okay, knowing that lifestyle, that mindset. Forget about the body, right?
Mhm.
The mindset of being overweight as a kid
Oh yeah.
to then right, it's a whole thing of all right, how do I see myself and how do I not berate myself? You go
Right.
through that, and then you come to an acceptance of it and an appreciation
Mhm.
of the body you have and how to take care of it.
Definitely makes you. I wouldn't recommend anyone get obese, but it definitely makes you that much more
Right.
in tune with your body. Or even someone who like started like super skinny and like wasn't super active growing up, so they started lower on the spectrum with fitness, and
Yes.
same as someone who's like overweight. It's just kind of like, what's your battle? But yeah, I mean, it makes you more in tune, and like probably makes you a little more obsessive for sure. But like again, not the worst thing.
Yeah, and finding that way of okay, how do I now just balance out my whole life
Mm-hmm.
and the emotional strength, the mental strength,
Definitely.
right?
Definitely.
So let's go to the next phase of your life where you decided to go into the army.
Yeah, no, that was fun. Yeah, I was training at the time. That's when this was pre-COVID, and I was training, and the gym was transitioning to Palm Beach Sports Club. So I mean, like if you walked into the gym, which they kept open during construction, you were quite literally working out in a construction zone, you know. And I just kind of like I was doing good with training, but I was like a kid who was making a good amount of money training, but I was also a kid with money, so like the money didn't stay anywhere in my pockets at least, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like kind of hit a wall, and there was like this next like mental step of like, all right, now, you know, I'm here. What do I do with my life now? You know, like I'm running out of money. I'm probably almost 21 at that point, you know, and parents and grandparents or whoever isn't gonna let you live with them forever, you know. So I mean, there was like I have to make a step. I got to do something, and like I had always thought the military was cool. You know, you play soldier as a kid and whatever. But I was like always way too overweight and out of shape for that to ever be an option, and I knew that. But then like it was like, oh wait, now that you know everything's coming to you know an end right here, now I have this as an option, and I was you know they'll pay room and board, they'll feed you, they'll train you, they'll pay you to train you. You get to do some cool stuff. So I mean, like my family wasn't super stoked about it, but you know, I just sent it. I just signed the contract, went to Maps. Probably had a little freak out moment somewhere in there, like what am I doing, you know? But I went, and I think it was totally worth it. 4.5 years.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was fun.
Yes.
Thanks for paying for it.
And even then, you were thinking about other people.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Getting supplies for people and
Oh yeah.
doing whatever you could
Oh yeah,
to
definitely.
assist.
Yeah, we had a Marine sent us a bunch of kind of the necessities of being stuck in a field or on deployment or whatever, and that's just socks and I mean if you baby wipes. I forget what else you sent.
Socks.
I mean
You
a whole
needed
crap ton of
socks.
socks. Yeah, we had a
Yeah.
lot of boot socks sent to us, which is like that's a game changer out there. Especially as I was a medic, so I mean like being able to go to a guy and be like, yeah, you don't have socks, there you go.
Sure.
You know, I don't want to see
Sure.
your feet again.
Right.
You know,
Right.
cover them
Right.
up.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. And then I mean, just in terms of even now, like I kind of took that and I sent a package to my little brother who's on deployment after convincing him to go. That was recently, and I mean during it, yeah, I mean it was just fun. It was selfish and selfless because I mean it was like cool. What do I want to do? Like what do I want to do with this? And then like now what can I do for other people while I'm in there? You know, and it was just fun. I mean, you got to do a lot.
And that what I think is such, obviously we're decades away in age. You're in your 20s, I'm in my 60s. And one of the things that I think is most important is that there is a balance of that, of giving and also receiving.
Mm-hmm.
Like you really seem to have that now in your 20s. I think you had it even before then, but it was masked by other things.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
But it's like you know that, like I need to take care of myself, and I also need to pay it forward.
Yeah, no, there's definitely. I mean, you got to be able to say no to people. Like you don't have to be this lifeline for everybody because that's like you're only going to be able to give so much when it comes time to need to give to someone else. And that's I've always lived by kind of like you got to be selfless, or sorry, you got to be selfish to be selfless. Like you got to focus. I mean, example, like if you want to grow up and have a wife and kids, like you have to be your own person, take care of your own life, and not be someone else's problem in that.
Mm-hmm.
With things in your control, of course. So definitely like being selfish enough in a positive sense to like have your crap together.
Sure.
To be able to like now when you try to share that, like you're not someone else's issue, essentially.
You truly are an old soul. You know that, right? I'm sure people have told you that. You
Sometimes.
really are. Yeah, you're like
Depends on the conversation for sure.
That's right. That's right. So I just want to go to your service for 4.5 years,
Mhm.
right? What did you learn about you as a person in terms of your inner strength?
Yeah, I mean, good question. A lot. Definitely, like you learn a lot about yourself, other people. You learn that things that you could never imagine that you could do, you just keep pushing and putting pressure. Like you can figure it out. I mean, in turn, like just something as simple as like doing PT every single day, and I mean, like I've had PT weeks where you're just like it's like 8-mile runs a day, and you're like,
Whoa.
I mean, your feet or ankles are blown out, and then next thing you know, you're up the next morning doing the same thing. But I mean, in the long run, you're fine. And then, I mean, just like, I don't know, you don't really know what will happen until it's like in your face happening, or what you'll do at least. And like, you learn a lot there. And I've seen people break, and I've seen people, you know, really step up, like someone you would never expect. And it's like when it's in their face, like it's something different. And even that, like each time that happens, it like changes you, you know? And like you see that, like I've seen people, you know, you would never expect it from them. And then let's say one of our guys goes down from whatever, and then all of a sudden someone steps up, and I mean they just have like a completely different demeanor once everything's said and done and taken care of. Like that person's just different. And like I don't know, it makes definitely makes leaders out of people. And I mean, you can't have a chief without Indians. So I mean, you have your people that follow, but that's what they're good at, you know. And like good leaders will put them in the right place. But yeah, it's interesting to see, and it's interesting to see what I would do, because like you know, everyone thinks that they're the highest and mightiest, and then it happens, and then you're like, maybe I wasn't as good at that or something. Not saying that's what I did, but you know,
Right, sure.
yeah,
There must have been so many instances where you just were blown away by your own strength and your.
yeah. Sometimes
Yeah, I bet.
yeah. I mean, there was, I mean, crazy stuff. I mean, like just from ruck marches to, you know, having like multiple patients, or like, you know, just like assaulting objectives that are just like you're on a mountain terrain, and like you're looking at the third mountain over, and they're like, we got to go over there, and we got to be like on it, you know. And you're like all of us, can
Right.
I get a truck or something? But yeah, I mean, you do it,
Sure.
figure it out. And there's always that, and it's funny, and you do it with the right people, it's just hilarious. And you know me, like I like to have a good time. So like I did this thing when I was in there where like literally anything could go wrong, and I would just like laugh at it and be like, isn't this great? You know, people are like, what are you talking about?
Right,
Like
right,
this is
sure.
hilarious, you know. And then after the fact, you get to talk about it and like joke about it and be like, yeah, that happened, you know. So I mean, you just make light of it, you just make the best of it.
And how did you, well, obviously the physical training was just beyond unbelievable, right? The
Oh,
physical,
definitely.
yeah, I mean, you were just constantly moving.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, you definitely have to. Luckily, I understood fitness enough and like
Yes.
recovery to be able to like. I mean, like if we had a really heavy PT week, or like some event was going on, or like we did some field event or something that was just like super taxing. Like I would still work out, but I would just come in and I would do like my main lift, for example, and then I would like just call it there. You know, I burned a crap ton of calories doing whatever. Let me do my main lift, get the strength, get the stimulus, and then call it quits. Make sure I hit whatever I'm trying to hit, like protein wise or
Right.
calorie wise. And I mean, you would have guys that were trying to get all beefed up and, you know, jacked up, and they'd be doing that PT, and then they'd be in the gym after for 2 hours just, and I'm like, you're just not.
Right.
And then like that kind of pushes into sleep, and that kind of pushes into the next day, you know, and like they can't recover. And then guys would come ask me, and they'd be like, oh, I'm trying to, you know, just help me out, send me a program. And I was like, once I got the whole story, it was exactly that. They were doing the heavy PT, and then they were doing this insane amount of work in the gym. And I'd be like, all right, I'll help you. Just take 3 days off, and then come back to me.
Okay. And eat.
I was like, take 3 days off. This guy sucks, you
Sure,
know.
sure.
And then I'd be like, and then we'll go work out. That way, like you'll
Mm,
probably still be doing your PT, or if it's on the weekend, you know, you'll actually get that recovery. And then we come back Monday or Tuesday or whatever, and then we lift, and they're like, oh, I feel great. I'm getting a pump. I feel strong, and I'm just like, yeah. I mean, it's simple. Like you can't just like hard nose it all the time. Like you got to
sure.
recover to be able to like, you know. Not every gym session is like a no pain no gain type of thing. Sometimes it's like checking the box, so that way you're taking care of business, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So when it is time to perform, like you got it in the bag. Like
Right, right.
you're a lot stronger than if you were just grinding through nothing the whole time, you know.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Sure, sure does. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what are some of your go-to supplements? Like, what do you find you need to maintain?
I'm pretty basic. I just like follow like the mainstream, not mainstream, but like the research, and it's like super known that creatine is like an absolute powerhouse of a supplement.
Right.
I mean, it's been researched for like decades, and just as a medic, I like realized how important, like if you're like a very physically demanding person to yourself, electrolytes like sodium,
Okay.
like
Sure.
your whole body communicates with electricity. So if you don't have electrolytes that are moving through your blood or in your muscles, like there's nothing to like basically communicate with, you know. So I mean, like, look, for example, if you hit like a crazy run the day before and you've depleted any water, sodium, magnesium, like anything in the electrolyte category, like finding a good electrolyte source is crazy. Like putting salt on your food, and that's like if you're a physically demanding person, that's not for everybody. If you're only
Right.
moving once or twice a week, like a bunch of salt isn't the answer, you know. And but yeah, creatine, electrolytes before your workout, and just like water. Like it's so simple. Like I've seen guys go for months on like just water and electrolytes, and they don't have. I mean, like, and that will like literally make or break someone. Like I've dragged dudes in to like an aid station because they simply didn't drink water, didn't eat their food, and didn't
Wow.
have salt.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
So
first thing you do is give them exactly that, and you'd be surprised how many people just wake up. What happened? You know,
Right,
it's like, oh, you didn't have
sure.
salt.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very simple. And the other thing I'd say, which I'm kind of working on, which I do like at this point, is magnesium for sleep.
Yes.
Yeah. So I shop at Costco and I get the magnesium 3 and 8,
Okay.
and that's just from hearing Andrew Huberman's podcast, and like he's
Love
pretty
him.
good at breaking down
Yes.
the research, and so that's what he recommended. So I've been trying that, and I like it. I don't take the recommended dose because I had never taken it before. I just take 2 before I go to sleep, about an hour before that, and like I already like kind of wake up a lot during the night, so like that's me trying to find something.
Sure.
So, but I mean, like I'll wake up a couple of times during the night, walk my dog, let her out, and then come back in, go back to sleep, and now I can kind of, you know, if I stay tired, stay out of the light, you know, I can go back to sleep pretty easy. But yeah, just those 3 things. That's it.
And that's another question for you too. Is I love him.
Yeah, he's good.
He's amazing to listen to. I listen to a lot of Stacy Sims. I don't know if you probably
No, I'm
don't
not
because
familiar.
you're not familiar. And Gabriel Lyons. Who else do you like to listen to?
Dr. Lane Norton, if I'm getting that right, and I mean like it's if you watch those people or listen to them, like you would understand my like concept of fitness because it's super like cut the BS, like calories in, calories out. Are you hitting your macros? Are you strength training? You know, whatever your sport is, like, are you like actually putting in the effort? Like, can't lie to yourself about it. And then there's another guy, and he's a little more vulgar, not like vulgar, but he's a little more intense about it. There's a guy on Instagram called TNF. And I that's all I know. If you look up TNF, he's like this big blonde jack white guy, and you'd be like, oh, him, yeah. And like same thing, just cut the BS. Like find the middle ground between like bro science and like the hard science of someone that's like, you know, I don't need some skinny little guy telling me you should only be doing something, and it's like, all right, you know.
And what would be a typical like day for you food wise?
It's changed a lot, definitely. I'd say I eat kind of extreme, so like I don't generally like I know what to tell people who are trying to learn, and then like what I do.
Sure.
But like I literally like get in some carbohydrates, which could be just fruit, like just eating fruit, like simple sugars before a workout. So like half hour to an hour before a workout, and then I'll have my caffeine. That's also another supplement. That's one of the
Love
most
caffeine.
Yeah, that's one of the most studied supplements that there is. And then there's a lot of good research behind like getting some form of carbohydrates right after your workout. So I eat to train, and then I eat to recover, and then like there's probably a couple spots of protein in there. So like each of those. So if I do like the fruit, I'll do like fat-free cottage cheese, and I'm a monster about it. Like I have the cottage cheese container, and then it's just that. But only I'm eating it, so like and then right back in the fridge, and then probably something similar, maybe like a protein muffin or something that we make, and that'll be like after the workout or before, you know, some formula for that, and then I kind of like fast the rest of the day depending on what I'm doing, and the end of the night, like I eat like I did way back in the day, but with good
food.
Yeah. So I mean, like it'll be like steak salad with a bowl that could like take up half your fridge. You know.
Yeah, I've seen some of your things on Instagram.
Yeah.
I think, right?
Yeah.
Some of the food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to. I call it balance. Like I said, it's like an extreme way of eating, so I wouldn't recommend it to people. Most people would look at that amount of food and like get sick to their stomach thinking about eating it. But from the
It
kid who
works
was
for you.
300 pounds,
It
like,
works
yeah,
for
it works
you.
for me.
Yeah. And that's what I have found also too to be so important, like to really find what's the recipe, if you will, that works for you personally. Because
Yeah,
there's
definitely.
so much information out there and it's wonderful to listen to, but it's also like, okay, what works for me in my life?
Gotta be
And
sustainable.
what works for my body
Hmm.
and what works for me at each late age.
Yeah,
Because I'm
yeah,
sure what
definitely. It's
worked for
changed a
you when
lot
you
for
were
me.
20, yeah.
And yeah, lifestyle. Like sometimes you, depending on what you do, like I don't know, like if I go hunting all day with my buddy, like we'll have little snacks and stuff, but I don't have like meals out there.
Right.
And also, if you're in Florida, it's hot, so
Yeah,
a
that's
lot of a
right,
lot of that,
exactly.
you got to carry whatever you bring. So
Yes,
it's gonna be a lot of water or something with electrolytes, and
right.
you'll die of dehydration a lot quicker than you will of
Mm,
starvation. So,
yeah. How much water do you drink a day?
depending on the day, fitness or fitness output, like what I did that day, it's minimum of probably like 3 or 4 liters, and then on that could go up to whatever.
Hmm.
Don't deplete. I mean, the amount of water you drink, if you drink too much, can deplete your electrolytes. You just end up urinating them. So there's definitely a balance. Like if you feel thirsty, you should probably drink water, but like don't dehydrate yourself.
Right.
Go move the fluids around in your body. Go exercise. Trust me, you're gonna want to drink water after.
Sure.
So
Sure.
I mean, I'm sure there's research that gives better answers, but for me, like definitely somewhere between 4 to 10 liters of water a day. And like I said, it's very dependent on what I did that day.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah, and I find if I don't start in the morning, forget it.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
have to start
yeah. You'll
first thing in the
forget.
morning drinking the water,
And
or
that's
else
what you
it's
should do.
overwhelming.
You just spent 6 to 8 hours not drinking water.
Right.
The first thing you are is dehydrated in the
Sure.
morning.
Sure. Exactly. Exactly. What have you found particularly, like, let's just use the last 2 years. What have you added into your strength program?
I think the best answer would be like I've only added. It's like not what I've added, but what I've taken away.
Okay, that was my other question.
Like
Okay, so perfect.
yeah,
Yeah.
KISS. Like keep it stupid simple.
Okay.
Like I'm big on progressive overload. So like when I was a kid, like you'd have seen me doing bench press, this incline that, pec fly. If I hit everything, I will grow. Which isn't the wrong answer, but yeah, now I'm at a strength level where now let's say like the same bench press that I started with back then is significantly heavier than it was back then.
Okay.
So I'm not going to be able to do these weights with every single exercise for 2 hours in the gym
Sure.
without tearing or something, just
Right.
like doing the exact opposite of what you want to do. So my big thing is like, okay, you have a push day, you have a pull day, you have a squat day, and then you have a hinge day, which is your deadlift. So deadlift, squat, whether your pull be rowing or push-ups, or not push-ups, rowing or pull-ups, and then some type of push day, which is like bench press, depending. Sometimes it's dumbbells for a while, sometimes it's flat, and it's people think it's so hard, but it's so simple as pulling out your phone, having like your notes app, and then today I did this weight for this many reps for this many sets.
Mm-hmm.
Now next week or the next time you do it, you should be able to add 2.5 pounds to each side and either do the same reps or do more reps with the same weight that you did before. So just a little tweak, little movements. It's just like weight loss. When you're losing weight, it's a little movement constantly. But at the end of the day, or at the end of the year,
Right.
how many little movements did you make to make a big
Sure.
movement?
Sure.
So yeah, I mean progressive overload with primary exercises that you can keep track of.
Well, it's so wild you should say that because I just started that 2 weeks ago.
I mean
Because I was working
it makes
6
a
days,
heck of
now
a
I'm
difference.
4, and it's huge.
Yeah.
And the strength is even more.
Oh yeah.
Like, I can't believe what you're capable of. It's
Oh yeah.
wild.
I mean, as long as you like do those little movements, like yeah, I mean it adds
Oh
up.
my gosh.
Like you can get pretty crazy strong. And I mean, there is no like right or wrong rep range in terms of like obviously if you're doing more weight, you're not going to be doing as many reps,
Right.
but you're still giving the stimulus to the muscle to get close to failure to be like, red alert, we need to grow or
Right,
or
right.
get stronger. And so I mean, that's the same thing with doing lightweight for God knows how many reps, but now, okay, so next week, let's say you do 10 pounds or whatever and you do it for 50 reps. All right, cool. Next week, you better do 51. And then at the end of the year, because you didn't move your weight and you just wanted to move reps,
You're doing 100.
you're doing a bajillion reps. But if I do 3 reps of 225 for 3 sets, and then the week after I do, just adding 1 more rep, or if I just added 2.5 pounds, now I can still only do 3 reps of 3 sets of, I guess that would be 230 pounds, so those little movements with the weight make a difference. And you don't even have to do like 1 rep maxes. Like people that I work, they know like the lowest we're going is a 2 rep max. That way I can at least do it once, and then maybe I'm
Maybe
comfortable
get
with
it.
this weight.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
this weight, and it's not a guessing game. Now it's different for like power lifters or like Olympic lifters who are
Sure.
competing at that level, but still, like, yeah, keep it
And like
simple.
you said, that it matters so much. What do you really want? Do you want it to be strong, or do you want your muscles to grow? So it's 2 totally different workouts.
I mean,
right?
well, even with strength training, your muscles will grow, but a lot of people are, nobody wants to get under hundreds of pounds. It's scary,
Sure.
so.
Sure.
But that's why you work into it, and like that's really the difference. Like you will get stronger in those rep ranges, but like it's just more efficient essentially. Like when you're doing strength training to grow, it's more efficient because you can get in, get out. The recovery is easier. It's technically easier on your joints because you're not just doing so many repetitions with a load.
Right.
So to me, it's just efficient. You get stronger. I like being strong.
Yes.
Because in
Yes.
life that translates to like almost anything you do,
Doesn't
being
it?
strong. So
yes.
yeah.
Because I find the gym is so much more than the gym, and it's so much more than the muscle. I mean, that's wonderful. That's why you're going there.
It's nice, yeah.
But it translates out into the real world in terms of discipline, accountability, responsibility,
and activity. I mean, like what can you now do that you weren't able to do before, or like what do you not bat an eye at anymore because you can handle it.
Sure.
So.
Sure.
I mean, you go. If I go hunting and I go hiking for a while, like I'm not worried about it. Like I know I can handle it. If I go offshore and I'm fishing and I catch something big, like I'm not worried. Like I know I can grab the rod and like be on it for a while and be able to like beat the fish.
Right.
And I've seen people who can't do some of those things,
Sure.
and it's like maybe you should work out. That's the bottom line.
Maybe come to the gym.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing that I can't believe I couldn't do that. It's like, well, why,
Right. Yeah.
But a lot of people, they want you to tell them, or they say it out loud to look for. Hey, don't worry. They want to be coddled.
Okay.
They want to feel good for it. So it's like, it's not your fault. That's just the way
Right.
that
Right. Or they think there's an easy answer when that's the farthest from the truth because it's work.
Isn't. Well, what do you do? It's like,
work.
well, let me tell you, and it's like, all right.
Right.
If you're not going to tell me.
Sure.
It's like I just told you. It's like, keep your secrets. That's hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is.
And I listen to, particularly again at my age, which you're already doing, so you got like decades of longevity. What's really gonna have you have a productive, agile life as you age? Your bones.
Oh, definitely.
Your bones,
bone density.
your muscle. Oh, totally.
Which that's another thing. Like I said, efficiency, like in terms of strength training, that's one of your outcomes is you gain bone density.
Oh my gosh,
So
definitely.
Don't ignore it.
Yeah, you're not kidding. You're not kidding.
Choose
Dr.
your pain.
Attia's on, I don't know if you listen to him at all, Dr. Peter Attia. He's amazing about the whole thing with bones and muscles and
we need more people
longevity.
preaching that because
yes.
Yeah, if you don't choose like discipline now, it will show up in the future as a different type of like suck that you have to deal with. Like,
right.
And trust me, like this one's better. Like, like deal with this now.
Oh, it's so the truth. It's so the truth. So, in closing, what would you say now is your main fitness goal?
Definitely. I like to be like it sucks because there is. I mean, like Anthony, like he's stronger than me. Like there's guys that I like look up to that are stronger than me. And it's like, oh, I want to be as strong as possible. But there's also so many things. Like I like to be a jack of all trades, master of none, because of like my job history and what I'm going into. Like I need to be able to run for a while. I need to be able to last. So I do a lot of running, stairs, walking the beach, and like just being able to like go the distance, but I also like being strong. So I mean, there's like definitely I have to be like on top of my diet. I have to be on top of like my mobility, stretching, my recovery, which sometimes I'm bad at because I'll work out 7 days a week and oh man, I shouldn't have done that. But so I mean, like I like to be a jack of all trades, master of none, but I do like to be strong. So
Well, what you're going into is, there's the bravery and the courage are beyond, right?
oh yeah,
I mean, you need it.
yeah.
So you're tapping into so many. Where are you at? Tell us where you're at with all of that. What are you
So
working
I
on?
went to I was in the army. I was a medic. I got my EMT through the army, so I was able to skip that portion when coming here and going to fire school, and then so I went to the fire academy, and then yeah, just working on getting a fire station. There's a couple guys I've talked to who would like to be able to pull me into their station and kind of sponsor me is the word I'm looking for. And then I mean, it's one of those things too. It's like it's not who you know, it's the people. Or it's not what you know, it's the people you know. And so like there's certain stations right now that say they'll hire me as soon as the application opens up. So just kind of picking where I want to work and
Nice.
whether that be like West Palm or Gardens or so just with the people I know, hopefully I can make a good
Yes.
decision on it.
Yes.
Depends on the work you want to do because depending
Right.
on the city, it'll be a different type of work for sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Awesome.
yeah, definitely
Yes. Very,
excited.
very cool. And it's such a job for you that taps into all that you are, don't you find?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's a good thing I like fitness because the jobs I keep choosing, you got to be
Yeah.
pretty physically fit.
Yeah. But also that you're fearless.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. Well, in this position, that's exactly what you need, right?
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I
Fear is
did.
like everybody has a fear. It just depends on what you do with it.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
courageous people feel the same fear that someone who didn't act feels. Just depends on what you do with it.
And I think it's also too like if I was ever in a fire, oh my God, to know that you were there.
I'm coming.
Woo! Exactly. Exactly. It's like you would just like there would never be a concern.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I think it's good to have what's the word I'm looking for? Like more sifting when it comes to hiring certain people and stuff. Like some of these places that expect a lot out of you, it's very like sign the dotted line. Here you go, you're in, and then like they don't really get to see what they got themselves into until it's like happening in front of them. So you know,
Okay.
but yeah, I mean it's fun.
Yeah.
They're from what I've seen, they pick up on the right people, and when there's someone there that isn't the right fit, they kind of find a way to get them out of there. So
Very awesome.
yeah, and that's Palm Beach
Yeah.
State. Palm Beach State has a great fire academy, and my instructors are really good too. So
Wonderful.
yeah,
Wonderful. That's very exciting.
oh yeah,
Well, this has been amazing. Even better than I expected,
yeah, it was
really.
fun.
I mean, I knew it would be awesome, but you're just so off the charts amazing. And thank you so much,
Well, thanks for
really.
having me.